You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome, everybody. Everybody in the world.
We are going outdoors.
We're going out. We're taking our shoes off. We're putting our shoes on and going outdoors. Thank you for listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I'm Rodney Rogers. That's partner coaches in crime, Michael T.J. McCoy.
Here we go. Thanks, and welcome to episode 27.
27. Let me make an adjustment here. I know you always make me do this before.
Yeah.
I never get it right.
Seems to sag, yeah.
It's like a
How are you doing, Rodney?
Man, I am awesome, brother. We had a rainy, crappy weekend this weekend. I made the most of it.
Half of it. Sunday was nice.
Sunday was nice.
Sunday was nice. Saturday was
nice.
gloomy.
I did get a little bit outdoor Sunday, but honestly, nothing to even speak about. I started a new art project that I'm going to expose. I don't want to go into it a whole lot right now, but I'm going to expose it. I think it's really, because I'm an artsy kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can paint, I can draw, I can sculpt. I can do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm doing this project that I think is going to be pretty cool. And I'm going to debut it on our website.
Cool.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, you didn't.
How about you? How's your weekend?
It was good.
Right on.
Yeah.
You were...
Rain, just
Oh, you were in Sanford.
hometown. Sanford. Well, not hometown, but right next door.
Did you catch the Saturday rain?
Yeah, my wife more than me.
Yeah.
I end up working quite a bit. So.
Oh, okay. Right on. And Sunday was a gorgeous day. I wanted to come out and see you. I was lazy.
Nice.
Not going to lie. I just got...
Right down there by the marina, saw a boat or two.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Was the lake choppy?
I don't know.
I fished in many tournaments on that lake, and that thing gets pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah. I had my cousin. It was cold.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Okay, quest away.
Did you get an email from a Marlin? He's asked if you got. I said, when did you email him? He said, no, a month or two ago.
Really?
And you know what he wanted to see? He had an idea for a podcast or
Okay.
maybe a video or something, and it's exactly what we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Is he's got a couple fishing rods in the garage that he wanted to restring.
Oh,
And he
okay.
wasn't really sure how to go about doing it. He said he's watched some YouTube videos. Doesn't seem quite that difficult, but he
Right.
says, but thought maybe Rodney could demonstrate. And we were talking about that very thing.
We were, and you know what? Speaking of which, Sunday that's what I did. I went over my buddy's Manny's. We do a lot of offshore fishing, so we kind of updated our gear. We like to change our hooks out, which we look
Who
at all.
doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of them things. You get your hook all rusty. You don't want your hook rusted in a time of need. You know what I'm saying?
Do not.
So we basically just look through the hooks, see what's dull. We switch them out. We don't try to sharpen them. We just get new hooks. They're so cheap.
Yeah.
We just put new hooks on. But yeah, we changed like 5 lines. Doing some casting. Once when we were offshore last weekend, I noticed that some of these lines were too heavy for the reels.
Oh, okay.
So I said, look, so we ended up changing 5 poles, and just the line was just too heavy. So you couldn't, the castability of the reel was just like 30 feet versus where it should have been 130. So we made some big changes. So I think the next time we go out, we'll be a lot more efficient.
So that'd be just a down and dirty video you
Let's
could
do
shoot
that
sometime and show people how to.
I only got 300 reels, so 200 I don't have any line, so we can definitely pick out a good line. Because what, a lot of people want to know what's an overall good line.
Yeah.
That one line you can put on several poles and be okay, and be okay to fish with, and that's what everybody's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throw it out there. It's just a 10-pound test line.
Sure.
Just any 10-pound test line. A lot of good monofilament lines out there. Pick that right now, and then we'll show you how to put it on the pole. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. We're doing this offshore thing, so we're setting up new rigs. We're going to be kingfishing our next time out, so we're going to try some new techniques.
Oh, cool.
So we went to Bass Pro Shop, and of course that's where I always go. Grown Feather, Chuck E. Cheese right there. And I bought some gear for some, to run some deep rigs. So hopefully we get to. I don't know if we'll be offshore this weekend because the weather's supposed to sneak in on us.
Is it really?
Yeah, Saturday's like a 20% chance of rain. It's not so much the rain as it is the wind.
Sure.
I can handle 3-4 foot seas, but our El Capitan, he's not much of a 3-4 foot sea guy.
Aw.
Actually, I'm not either. It's no fun.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We like the
They
one.
can make for a miserable day. especially out
Just
there.
it just makes it bad all the way around. Hard to stand up in the boat. It's just
And
a
if
lot of
you're-
work.
If you're a professional and that's your living, that's one thing getting knocked around like that. But if you're
Right.
just out for the
You're just having
not
the
exactly
fun of
a
it.
pleasure
Yeah,
cruise.
and you got an option.
Yeah.
So,
Cut it loose and do it another day.
but I will tell you what I'm doing this coming weekend for sure. It's the Daytona Crawfish Fest.
Whoa. What?
Oh, what? I didn't tell you about that?
We should talk more.
Yes. So actually, I was going to spring that on you earlier, but I figured I'd do it on the show.
Perfect.
So every year
In Daytona.
in
It's
Daytona,
a festival?
it's a festival, crawfish
Okay.
festival. It's getting bigger every year. It's like the 4th or 5th year I think they've had it, and I go every year. Ooh, that crawfish, man, it's good stuff.
Just, what is it, a bunch of different vendors that cook them a different way?
From
Everybody's-
Louisiana, but these guys are from Baton Rouge.
People dressed up like crawfish.
I'd say we do dress up like crawfish.
What is it, on Main Street or something?
It's right on Main Street, just like Bike Week. You know, there's a bunch of vendors right there on Main
That
Street.
would be cool.
So yeah, I'll be there Saturday for sure.
I might be there too then.
Yeah, it'd be awesome,
Interesting.
especially if we have decent weather.
Yeah.
Sunday's supposed to get a little ugly. There's a guy there that I buy all my crawfish seasoning from. He puts up, he's not afraid to sell you his seasoning. He puts it in the thing. You buy it by the pound, by the.
I don't know that I've ever had crawfish.
Stop.
Yeah, no.
Stop. It'll shut the show down. All right, guys, folks, have a
Yeah.
good night. We're out of here.
Hmm.
You've never had it, huh?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'll have to go to Daytona.
I've ate so much
Because
crawfish.
it'd
I'd
be
have
interesting to
to.
try to go with you and be like, no, this is bad. This is good. This is, so you know
Right.
what?
There's a guy there. He brings from Louisiana this giant 500 guy. It's big. I don't even know how big it is, but it holds a ton of crawfish, and I don't mean a ton literally, figuratively speaking. I mean 2,000 pounds of crawfish.
Wow.
And
Live?
come Sunday, well, he cooks them all the way here. He puts them in this it's a big giant stainless steel cooker.
Oh, wow.
He's cooking it all the way to Florida. By the time he gets here, oh my God.
Really?
That guy, I don't even mess around. I go straight to his booth.
Hmm.
And I eat a lot of crawfish. And I take a lot of rollades. And
Interesting. I wouldn't mind going over there.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
absolutely delicious. There's, a lot of different recipes, and that's what I like about it. You can get
Yeah, so you can sample different.
Absolutely.
Like I say, some better than others, but it'd be nice good way to sample.
absolutely. There's nothing better than a cold beer and a crawfish. I don't know. It just seems to be just a summertime. The spring has started when you got a cold beer and a crawfish. That should be the standard for all of the United States. If you had a cold beer and a crawfish, it is now official springtime.
Have you noticed anything a little bit different about the set today?
Let's see
I
here.
use the term set lightly.
Yeah, I noticed that you're playing footsies with me a lot more than you used to.
Well, besides that,
Okay, what else? Our light?
no,
That pretty much
you can
sums it up for
see it in
me.
the video. Of course, you can't see the shot, but
No.
it's my new resurrection plant.
Oh!
Turns out they do need water.
So our artificial sunlight's not doing it, is
Yeah, I
it?
just wanted to prove that it was not a fake plant.
There you have it, Mr. Brown Thumb at his finest.
I call it my resurrection plant because it dies. By the end of the night, it'll be in full bloom again.
You think so?
Yeah, it will.
Really?
I do this to it all the time. Trust me. I know.
You're toying with this plant's
do.
emotions. You
It
know
does
that.
not like me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it'll come back. But anyways,
I can't wait to see it. Now I'm going to be on this plant all night waiting.
well, let's make this a 4-hour episode. And
We'll probably need a
test my
3-day
word,
episode.
yeah.
That one looks a little.
By the end of the night, I'll send you a photo later. It'll be back up. It's pretty wild.
That's all. You might want to shoot at some coffee. Coffee's good this time of year.
So what's going on?
So man, that's it. I mean, let's talk out a little bit of alligator while we're at it.
Okay, so May 5th. This is Tuesday night. Last night, I don't know, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo was the last
closing.
Your last night for your alligator permit
Yes.
to apply for it. Now,
But
now what'll happen is they're going to draw everybody in that first draw. We got about 14 days to pay for it. So let's say we're drawn. So we got 14 days to pay for it, and then we're going to, then whoever does not pay in that 14 days, it's a deadline. If you don't pay by, and I'm going to pull that up right now, if you don't pay by this date, then your draw goes back into the pot. So if you did not get anything on this draw, then you can go get a second shot at it.
So there's another opportunity to apply.
Yes. And actually, you won't apply this time. It'll be first come, first serve. So you better be at the tag office when they open the door. Absolutely.
Really?
What they'll do is they'll post what's available. After everybody paid I'm going to find that date up. I meant to pull that up earlier, but I just goofed around. I ain't going to lie. I kind of sat on it. So once you reach the day, they'll close it out, and then it's either 1 or 2 days. Here you go. Phase 1. So phase 2, statewide alligator. Here we go. So phase 2 is 5/23. So we're going to know by.
So why does it say phase 2 applications?
It's not an application. It's
really not. Okay.
Yeah, it's
because I don't know if you knew this. This information is actually on the Rodney Rogers Outdoors website. You actually did know that.
I saw it there.
Yeah, we started our gator hunting 101, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's right. Duh.
If you go to Rodney Rogers homepage, and right in the middle there it says it's gator time, and there's a handsome picture of yourself.
And just click on that.
You can click on anywhere. Yeah, the photo, the title.
Oh, where'd I go here?
What the heck are you doing? Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'll learn how to work this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And just kind of a rundown, kind of the basics of what we talked about on last week's show. So if you didn't miss last week's show, check that out. Rodney and I both applied for our.
Is that music on our website?
No, one of your other tabs is playing there.
Okay,
somewhere.
Here. Sorry about that. Let me.
Just hit that pause button right there.
Okay, there it is.
There we go.
Okay, so.
Yeah, all kinds of things have changed on our website, right? Need to go back there once in a while.
I should check that out every now and then. Okay.
So anyway, the requirements we just kind of highlighted. You know what I thought was interesting though, the fact that we're lucky to live in Florida. Because
you see that price difference.
Yeah, because I was telling Kim that last night. Because if you're not a non-resident, gator tag is $1,022.
Actually, it's not a bad price.
It's a lot more than $272.
Yeah. I'm upset that they're charging us $271. I think it should be around just like any other fee, like $55.
Why is that? Is it because of demand? I guess.
Yes.
It's got to be. Because,
it fills up.
Yeah.
If they offer 5,000 tags, they sell 5,000 tags, and it's non-refundable. So it ain't like they had to refund 2,000 tags at the time. When you don't get your tag license.
Okay, so I've derailed this, but you're saying that what it's calling the Phase 2 application starting on May 23rd is not an actual, you don't reapply.
No, you actually go right to, you can do it online, or you can do it when the tag office opens.
So they just throw them out there and people come and grab them.
Well, honestly, what you do is you fill out this little I guess technically it is a little application phase. You fill out the application of the dates that you want that's available. And then you go straight there to the courthouse and you say, hey, here, and they'll punch it in, and whatever's available, they start with what you want, and it happens so fast. You could literally be standing there and plow and miss out, on your hunts. And the ones that are honestly at the end of the year, the ones that are usually left over. You remember when you and I went to the Everglades?
Mm-hmm.
That section of the Everglades is actually on this list. And you've seen how many alligators were there.
Yeah.
It's just too far for us to drive.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really is. We were in Holy Land, and we were, that whole area down there. Francis T. Tyler.
Isn't that like shooting cows on a farm, though? I mean, they're just everywhere.
Apparently not. Somebody's not doing it. You would think if you lived down there, you'd be filling out for there. Those were giant alligators, and they were everywhere. Heck, they were coming up to us.
Yeah.
So, it would be like shooting fish in a barrel, but apparently, somebody's not successful.
Yeah, your fish in a barrel is probably a better analogy than my cows on a farm. Sorry.
Stick to the subject here. Let's stay off the farm animals, Mike.
Stay away from my farm, buddy.
Stay away from my farm, buddy. So I mean, and that's one of the things on the list, and that's what I was telling you last week. You don't want to accidentally pull something you don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Well, it was funny because last night, which was the deadline, I went on with my wife Kim, and we applied for hers gator tags and my daughter's, and we were doing the drop down list of selecting the locations that you wanted to hunt.
Right.
And she's like, why don't we pick those? And I was explaining to her, you may end up on the other side of the state.
Right.
You have to really know what you're selecting there. Look at the maps and reference.
Or like, I took a guy out here in Lake Minneola. We had a hunt out there. He drew out there. He'd never been there. He just drew. He just wanted to hunt, and he drew it. And I pre-hunted. So basically what happened was they would call me and say, look, I've got a hunt here. So I would go 2 or 3 weekends ahead of their hunt and basically hunt the lake without the hunting equipment.
Yeah.
I'd basically scout. And I tell the guy, I said, look, man, I've been out there 2 weekends in a row. There's nothing out there. I mean, I've seen 1 or 2 alligators, not worth killing. It's just not worth it, and I'd hate for you to pay for, a $500 night.
Sure.
And get out there and not
That'd
kill
be sad,
nothing.
yeah.
And he was absolutely, he says, nope, we drew it. I want to go. I said, okie dokie. So we see 1 alligator. 1 freaking alligator. We pull up on it, and the dang thing's like 12 inches long. Yeah, here. And he's got his bow drawn back, and I'm shaking my head like, dude, you don't want to shoot this alligator.
Oh, boy.
Perfectly legal,
Yeah.
but you don't want to shoot it. So that was the only alligator we saw, and honestly, I didn't want to take his money. He said, no, I insisted, pow, so that's what I mean. If you were going to draw tags, call me and say, hey, Rodney, what do you think about this area? And I say, hey, no, don't do that. It's a hard area to hunt. It's not a lot of alligators.
I applied for Red Bug Lake. Do you think that was a good idea?
Absolutely. It's right here by the house.
I figured it was close. I
Absolutely.
didn't have much gas invested.
We could walk along the bank. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one. So, yeah, it's important. And then you got phase 3, which is like the leftovers of the leftovers. There's usually nothing left over in phase 3.
I'm excited, and we're going to continue to follow this procedure and process along. And
well, I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. I'm going to go back and update it because I want to put that map on there, and it'll just become a kind of a source.
Absolutely.
We're trying to make it a little more simple than even trying to navigate the FWC website. They've got all the information on there, but there's a few clicks you kind of have to get to.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate,
for.
actually. Yeah. It's confusing to navigate. I've done it a million times, so I can put us right on it, but for the average Joe or Sue or Joanne or
we'll keep it simple and straight to the point, and we'll get more in depth as we go, but I just wanted people to.
You see that alligator in that picture that you put up there with me? I was on the front of the boat, the canoe. We were in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, that's a canoe.
That's a canoe.
And I think you've got like a assault rifle there. What is that in your hand?
It's a bow.
It's a bow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a female. It's a little over just. I'm talking 8 foot and an inch. This one turned out, and I called her into me like 4 or 5 times. And we had just invented our new bow arrow apparatus to release and all this stuff, so we're just getting the hang of it, and I missed this thing like 3 times. So finally, now I've got it all set. Now I've got all the kinks worked out. I've not got my feet on the line. I'm like right there. This is it. So we finally called her in, and we popped her. So yeah, that was exciting. Then pulling it up with 300 pounds of grass and a upset alligator in a canoe makes for an interesting night.
Interesting. Yeah, I needed you to dig into your photo archive and send me some more gator pictures.
Oh, you got it.
So I can pop them up.
I've got 1 or 500.
Yeah, I bet you do.
So yeah.
So let's talk about something exciting. What are we talking about tonight? Anything?
So man, here's our topic for tonight, Mike, and you will know better than me because we are making a trip. You and I and your lovely wife Kim, and I'm hoping my son comes. He's kind of on the fence on it. He wants to be. We're going diver certified. We're going to get diver certified. So that is going to be an exciting trip. I've been wanting to do this forever, ever since you dumped me in the tank over in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I'm swimming around like Aquaman. I'm like, hey, I can't believe I've never done this.
Scuba Johnny.
Scuba Johnny. Yes, right. Scuba Steve. So, here we are. I'm excited. So that's what we'll talk about tonight. We're going to just kind of hang out and just talk about diving, the goods, the bads, what are our fears. I know because I've got fears.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do. I've been doing some research, and it's kind of an uncharted territory. I've snorkeled for years. I can't even tell you how long. I've snorkeled and, free dove and stuff like that.
Certainly a different kind of slant on the outdoors. I mean, not really, but I mean from a sports fisherman point of view, I guess it would be, but I think it's I don't know. It's interesting because I would be anxious to go out on my own and just, go out off a deep sea fishing boat or wherever you're at
and just pile drive in the water.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same water.
You know what I was thinking? Because when we were offshore the other weekend, there was some guy released a barracuda and it floated up. We had that 10-foot bull shark, and I still haven't posted that video. From my mobile device, it's just anyway. The diving, if I had diving gear, I would have dove immediately down in there and watched that and filmed that shark, on that barracuda the whole time. I wouldn't have been afeared at all, because.
Yeah, could we get somebody to call in and talk some sense into Rodney here?
Well, it's like Manny was on the boat, and he was like, "Hey, man," I said, "Hey, has anybody got a mask?" He goes, "I got a mask. Here it is. I don't recommend you doing that, but here, let me get my camera ready." Everybody wants to see a good shark attack. You know what I'm saying?
Who better than you, Rodney?
Who better than me? You know what I mean? I'm all about a shark attack as long as it ain't me. But I was convinced that he was so focused on that barracuda that he wanted nothing to do with me. I was already in the water, and I could see him coming up to it. By the time I got over to him, he wasn't having it. He had that 6-foot thing gone. I'm thinking, well, that could have been me. It was a big shark.
Interesting.
Big shark. So that's pretty cool. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about diving.
Okay.
Where we're going, the fears. I was doing some research, and honestly, I don't know why it's taking me this long. I think the fact that I never put the gear on. And when you and I were in Tampa, we were at a boat show. And you said, man, get in there, try it, and I did, and I thought, wow, it's not, my perception of it was a lot different than what it actually was. That was the smartest thing those people could have did.
Brilliant.
I mean,
it really was.
Absolutely, because that right there, and if you go to a boat show and you see something like that, don't be afraid. You're in a pool. You can't go wrong. The dude puts this thing on you. You're within, how long did it take me to get underwater? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
3 max? He said, here, squeeze, and you're in.
Yeah, obviously it's a controlled, safe environment, so they can just turn you loose. You can put your feet down and stand up.
Right.
So, open water diving, there's a whole lot to it in that. But just getting underneath water and breathing.
That's I mean, that's
brilliant.
I mean, for me, having snorkeled for so many years, it was different.
Sure.
It really was. It was different than being on top of the water and knowing that I had,
much clearance,
6-8 inches to work with versus going to the bottom and getting used to that, the pressure of breathing. So it was kind of exciting, kind of different at the same time.
I think it's interesting the point you brought up as far as, I mean, a lot of people even living in Florida, and not just here, obviously, but even, have easy access to this stuff, don't do it for some reason. And I think it's there's some sort of barrier to what actually is going on, but it is very accessible to anybody, not even just a ocean-based community.
Absolutely. We've got the coolest places.
Yeah.
Well, we have crystal clear lakes here that are I've snorkeled in many times. I just think it'd be neat because you and I have talked about it a million times. I want to do some research. I mean, this is how Guy Harvey started out, doing the research on, offshore fishing, marlin and, the billfish, and he became, one of the world's greatest advocates of conservation as far as fishing goes. So, and I've always dreamed of that, studying these fish on their turf, on their environment. And I did it for years with snorkels. There was a lot of lakes that I would fish. Reading a depth finder is one thing, but to go under the water and look at really what you're seeing and then putting it in your mind's perspective is a whole nother. And I think that's kind of what's given me the edge of fishing.
Sure.
And there was times, and this is no lie, that I would actually take my fishing pole underwater and reel that lure in
so you could see it,
so I could see how they reacted to me working it, and honestly that's helped me a lot. I mean, we're just watching it. So I would really like to get on that level. You and I have talked about it a million times. You're diver certified. When was you? How long has it been since you were certified?
12 years.
12 years. How many times would you say you dove?
Yeah, because that's one reason we want to get recertified. It's been probably 8 years since we've been in the water, scuba diving. So just because it's been so long, we want to be smart about it, and rather than even just taking a refresher course, I'm going to start over because my wife claims she cheated off me the first time around, so she really wants to know the answers.
So yeah, she really wants to know that when she's down there at the bottom, how do you really do this?
I think it's because I'm 50 years old now, so she thinks the chance of something happening, she might actually need to know
how
to save herself.
Right. Nice.
She was always looking to me for bottom times and stuff like that when we needed to go up, and now I think she really needs to kind of self-preservation is probably her bottom cause here.
So if she suddenly sees you laying on the bottom, it's self-preservation mode.
I gotta go.
Gotta go. Hey, my husband's down there sleeping. I think he's on the bottom. Yeah, so I was doing some research, and it says that one of the most common accidents, I know, I've had a heart attack. Cinco de Mayo, yesterday was 4 years.
Wow. So
my biggest fear was, having a heart problem. And one of the things it talks about is heart disease is probably one of the main things. It said if you have a heart disease, but I don't have a heart disease. I've just got an artery that was clogged that that was fixed. So I even asked the doctor. I said, hey, I called him up and said, hey, listen, I want to go get certified in diving. He said, why are you calling me? I'm not a diver certificator. I said, no, I mean, am I okay?
It's a smart move, though.
That's I mean, and it talks about in there that you want to be in some kind of good health. So in the next 30 days, I'm going to be, less pizzas and more Cheetos.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
Fat-free Cheetos. So, I'm going to try to lose 10 pounds in the next 30 days. I'm pretty confident I can do it. But I want to be somewhat, it says in there you want to be somewhat healthy. You want to be on the most part. And it says that one of the most common accidents is kind of like we were just talking about. If you were diver certified several years ago, the most common accident, someone's going to grab their gear and saying, hey, I'm going diving today, dragging their butts out there, and they haven't dove in 8, 9, 10 years and making a mistake. And it's a simple but yet costly mistake that most people get drug up from the bottom because they, their BCs weren't correct or something they should have taken care of was not taken care of. 8 years, you forget some stuff. You forget everything. So in there, it just absolutely recommends.
It certainly opens up a world, and literally a whole nother world of opportunity and sights and sounds.
Yeah, we go from the outdoors to underwater.
It's just, and one thing I've always been so impressed that what scuba diving does to you is there's very few things that I've done. There's a couple other things, but there are very few things that when you're in that moment, that is, you are in that moment. You're consumed. You're not worried about tomorrow. You're not worried about if the bills are getting paid. You're not worried about something that happened. Literally, all that is gone.
Yeah.
And you're focused on
the whole world.
The whole world that's right in front of you.
Wow.
Of course, the technical stuff that goes with it and being buoyant and all that stuff, but you're focused on, you're consumed by the moment. And things that can do that for you are just really liberating, There's just something about that. You come up with a whole, you changed, It's just really amazing.
Have you seen anybody down there 100 feet on their iPhone trying to Facebook the moment?
Not yet, because the iPhone wasn't around when we were.
Oh, okay. I doubt
times are changing, I suppose.
I doubt that happens anyway.
Well, what's funny, you know what? Speaking of dragging out your gear, Kim and I drug out our Pelican case full of scuba gear last week, and we had these little pads that you would write on with.
Oh, okay,
pencils while you're under the water,
Right.
And of course, they were still written on one side. Hers said shark left.
Nice.
And mine said, look, a turtle. We just started laughing. It was just so funny.
Oh, I thought it said help. Last note was help. That's pretty funny, shark.
But yeah, we got certified. I'm actually up in the grotto up in Ocala.
Ocala, yeah.
So we weren't even in the ocean, but
that's beautiful up there. That honestly, that fired me up.
Yeah, it's very cool. Number one, it's a much more controlled environment.
Yeah.
When you got in the ocean, there's a lot more variables.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, our first open water dive, after we got certified, again, we had not been in the ocean doing a dive. We got our open water certification in the grotto,
so
which
you're
is
on your
basically
own.
a lake.
Yeah.
And we went down and stayed for a weekend out of West Palm. Now, one thing that's different about, especially diving in West Palm, even as compared to the Keys, is a lot of the dives are what they call drift diving, meaning that the current is moving. So you get out, you go out and where the
Gulf Stream
and everything else. And it's when you get down there in the bottom, you're literally flying along the bottom.
Yeah, usually run like 8, 9, 10 knots.
Yeah, you're just controlling your buoyancy and watching out for the coral and the obstacles on the bottom, but you're moving along.
Right.
And you go down with a group typically on a dive boat, so
Yeah.
there's 8 to 10 of you, whatever. But you're all just clipping along. It's like in a fast-moving river under
Yeah.
there, and you're just along for the ride. Well, our first time down, there was 3 of us, my wife and my friend and myself, and it was our first time in the ocean. So everybody else more experienced than us. And of course, they had the okay sign. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. You know what I mean?
So you got your big boy pants on.
We had our big boy pants on. And literally, we didn't descend. We weren't prepared for the rate of descent that they did. And literally, before we knew, we watched them disappear down into the murky depths, literally out of sight.
Gone.
Panic
mode.
Well, we were all 3 halfway down. We were probably 40 feet down. I think with this dive was probably a 70 or 80 foot dive. And but we watched them disappear. Of course, the 3 of us we just kind of hovered for a minute, looked at each other and like, you okay? You okay? I'm okay. But we did not, because they were gone. And
really?
I mean, there was that moment of, okay, at least we're here.
Right.
But we didn't know, I mean, because they were down, and as it got deeper, the current took
So obviously there was they had some type of protocol there. You just didn't know what it was.
Nope.
Oh.
I think the protocol was stay with the leader.
Right.
But we just didn't. We weren't prepared for any of that. So we said, go up. Let's go back up because they're gone. We don't.
They're lost.
It was a little
There's
freaky.
no hope for those guys.
Yeah. Save ourselves, right?
Self-preservation.
So we went back up. And of course, the boat, the leader has the dive ball,
right,
that moves with them, and that the boat follows that ball. So we went up. The boat was not close to us any longer.
Oh.
Fortunately, the guy saw us, came back, and brought us up on the boat, and we didn't. He gave us a lashing.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a horrible first experience for a dive. We were like the little kindergarten kids just getting yelled at on the boat.
So you were everybody pops up, you're on the boat with your heads down and your snorkels.
Yeah, and he came over and put us on the boat and read us the riot act of everything that could have gone. Of course, we knew, and we were like, that was not cool.
Yeah,
but we were not prepared for what went on there. Of course, and then he went over and back to the ball, and they did 2 dives that day, so everybody came back up.
Right.
We went on the next one, and it was much better that time. Then we were in the groove.
So you kind of had an idea the second time how this was going to go.
Yeah, we weren't prepared for that rate of descent, but it was. I'll never forget that first dive in the ocean.
Wow.
Because it was drift diving quickly became not our favorite thing to do because it was.
It makes sense. So that was more advanced 101. Dive, or is that
we just weren't prepared. We didn't even know what a drift dive was.
Right, okay.
So,
but you had the certification. You said we're going in.
Yeah, so I mean, you just it's like a pilot's license. It's a license to learn. You're not an expert by any means.
Well, exactly.
It's just baby steps, but that was certainly an experience. But after that, we had many successful, enjoyable drift dives.
Right, I was gonna say, okay.
As compared to like where we'll be at Islamorada learning.
Uh-huh.
The water's much more, still. The
yep.
boat's going to be anchored. Nothing's moving.
Yeah.
The boat's going to be right there.
Here.
Everybody stays there.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend if you're learning or in the new experience and really want to enjoy it find some place like that.
Yeah.
Like where there's, the water's a little more shallow. I think we'll be probably 30 to 40 feet of water.
Okay.
And again, and the boat's anchored. So it's just a much more controlled environment.
Absolutely.
It's a much better way to learn.
Yeah. So we're going to be at a resort.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to park the car Friday.
Yep.
We won't have to touch it again until
it's going to be a blast.
We leave Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and of course, we're going to keep everybody posted on how our dive goes. Because right now we have to do the first step, which is the class.
Got to do the class. We have chose to do an online class ahead of time, just for time's sake. You can do all of your bookwork ahead of time.
And we're going through PADI, is it?
We're doing PADI, P-A-D-I. NAUI is the other one, which is actually how we were certified before. But I think they're both world recognized, but PADI seems to be the more predominant.
Yeah, I think when I was reading on it and I went there, it was actually it's the most predominant. There it is right there, PADI e-learning, and it's probably one of the most used. As far as the online certifications go. So we'll get that out of the way. We'll get that certification. We'll take that down with us. and then we'll start.
Yeah, then it's Saturday, Sunday. We're going to spend Saturday morning, like probably 3 or 4 hours in a classroom setting, probably, I guess, reviewing everything that we've learned online,
Right.
asking questions, have an instructor there in front of you. Saturday afternoon, we will spend in the pool with the scuba gear, learning
Right.
to, the basics, clearing your mask. You literally have to do everything from take off your entire everything underwater, put it back
Right.
on again, breathing, sharing your regulator in case one person runs out of air,
Right.
all these kind
Basically,
of
you're going
emergency,
through emergency
a
drills.
lot of it's
and,
emergency
yeah.
procedures, yeah. and just developing a comfort with it. And then
Yeah.
Sunday we'll come back out. Actually, I think we have Sunday morning off, and then Sunday afternoon we go back out. We go out of the ocean for a couple dives.
Oh, right on, right on.
That's
That's going to be exciting, man. I mean, it's going to open a whole new world for us.
But it's a great way to do it if you're time restricted. Like I say, we're doing an entire course basically to get the bookwork out of the way, and then 2 days
we're squeezing it all in,
concentrated, and then you're certified when you leave.
It's going to be 2 full days, I think.
It's going to be 2 full days. Yeah, for sure. And again, you'll be comfortable enough to go back out again. Is really where you want to be.
Right.
You realize your second time out if you get your certification, much like we were. That you're just beginners and you're just figuring this out. So you want to, and a lot of boats cater to the beginners.
Right.
Just.
Yeah, you put a beginner.
Yeah.
With a bunch of advanced, and you have this. Because you know what, what I've learned, and anybody in advanced anything has forgotten that at one time they were beginners.
Mm-hmm.
I see that everywhere we go, fishermen especially.
Yeah. And people are at different levels, and when they go out on the boat, again, they've paid to be there as well, and their goals and what they want to accomplish out there are totally different.
Exactly.
They may be actually taking video or photography, or who knows what their goal is. But I understand that somebody doesn't want to be slowed down by the new guy in the class. But like I say, some boats just recognize that and are a little more user friendly to the beginners.
That's cool. And I'll get to be diving with you, which you do have experience. I mean, it's good that you're going through the recertification because they recommend that. They don't recommend you just diving back in after 8 years.
Yeah. Like I say, they offer a refresher course, which probably would have been about 1/3 of the cost. But again, just because it's been so long, I don't mind. I'm a learner. I love to learn.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have it nailed down pat than be guessing at anything.
I would do the same thing. You know what? Because honestly, as many years as I've had guns, do you know how many safety courses I've been through? Because I can still misfire a gun.
Sure. But I mean,
it still happens.
Absolutely.
I went back through with my wives. I went back through with my kids. I went back through. I mean, every time someone went through, I went through as well.
Well, I would think probably any career with risk involved. Firefighters, policemen, pilots. There's recurrent training. Doctors.
Absolutely.
Just to remember the basic things so you don't forget them.
Yeah, I mean, Manny, our buddy Manny. I asked him. He blew an engine a couple years back. It's the first engine he blew in the airplane.
Really?
And I said, man, what'd you do? He said, honestly, he just kicked in. Mm-hmm. Everything, buttons were pushed and they landed and pow, everything was fine. Yeah. Because it's instilled in their heads. And and diving is one of those things you do, one of those underwater sports where you're basically just trying to survive the whole thing.
A lot of your training is training for when something goes wrong.
Right. That's
what's interesting is totally unrelated outdoors. This is a rat hole for sure, but that's all right. My wife was driving the other day and somebody hit the brakes. It was, on the highway, and she swerved and basically she was saying, I did not react well to that. And I thought, what's interesting though, as drivers, we don't train
for that,
for what goes wrong.
Absolutely.
We teach them how to drive. But how much time you don't train for emergency procedures? You don't train for swerving, and you go out for if you take a race car driving test, or get some experience on a rate. You learn how to handle a car when things go wrong. But as just general public driving, we don't train, you're never put in the experience to see how you're going to react when the person in front of you slams on your brakes.
Absolutely, that's a very
until you do it.
Good point.
Until you're there.
Yeah.
So she's like, I didn't react well because you've never been trained to react to those things until it happens.
That's
I remember when I first taught my daughter to drive, we found an open parking lot, and I'm like, okay, I want you to accelerate as hard as you can, and then I want you to stop as quick as you can without. I tried to get her to push the extremes. I think it was from some of my pilot training.
Yeah,
To feel the envelope of what the car can handle before it locks up on the brakes. And I really tried to get her to push it, not be so afraid of it.
Right.
But most of your driving training, you just don't train for emergency procedures.
Yeah. Because most of us have learned because we were in accidents.
Yeah.
It's just that I've never thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't either till she said that, and I said that's not your fault.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know how you're going to handle.
How would you? I mean, because in every condition, you've got rain conditions, snow conditions. People driving the snow probably handle it better.
Yeah, her reaction was that she overcompensated. She swerved too much, almost without even thinking who was on left or right.
Right.
It could have been really ugly, but fortunately it was all right. But certainly an interesting conversation.
Wow.
But diving's much the same way.
I was going to say it's just you're right on the same page.
Yeah.
Because you're training. I don't see why it wouldn't be unwise for us to go down every now and then just to do that.
Yeah, and it's a currency thing too. You know what I mean? If you dive regularly, set a goal for yourself to dive quarterly. Do a regular trip. 2 or 3 times a year, and just keep current so it's aware.
Right.
You practice those procedures. There's certain things that need to be, your workflow that you do time in, time out, so you're not forgetting to do certain checkpoints.
Because it's obviously something that I want to add to us. How we do the camping thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it'd be great to just organize a 4, 5, 6 person, anybody that's certified diving, who can't get out or doesn't get out because they don't know anybody. I think it'd be a great time for us to put a little group together and say, hey, let's charter a boat.
Well, what I see is you having waterproof business cards, and you're going to be underwater swimming up to somebody and under the Rodney Rogers Outdoors business card.
And we go
.com.
You're gone. Yeah, that's funny right there.
We're gonna have a good time.
I think so, man.
A whole new bunch of.
I think you and I will really be a grasp of this.
So we really had nothing to talk about tonight except just be excited about our upcoming diving
I think that
trip.
was it. I kind of wanted to. Because this definitely falls in the outdoors, and I'm totally excited. I've not stopped thinking about it since your wife booked us up, So I'm at a situation where I'm like, man, this is going to get exciting because it's going to open a whole new window for us.
No, here's the one thing you got to know about my wife, Kim. If you want something done. Just give her the nod.
Give her the nod. Yeah, because it's she goes, hey, let me know. And I said, I'm in. A day went by, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I, I'm up in the air. I'm like, okay, what do I do? do I say something else? Am I good?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, poof, great, we're booked. Row. Don't say you want to do it if you got any doubts, because you're doing it.
You're doing it.
It's in.
She gets the nod, and she's down the road.
She got nods. Great, we're in.
That's great. So I need that in my life,
Yeah, exactly, man. Because otherwise it'd never get done. And if it was left up to me, we'd be 80 trying to get dive certified. Been wanting to do it for 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when did we go to the Tampa Boat Show? Last year?
Yeah.
Early last year? About this time last year.
Yeah,
it's been a year. So, matter of fact, it just passed. The Tampa Boat Show just passed. So, a little over a year. So, yeah, I've sat on it that long, wanting to do it, and pow, here we are. We're doing it. We got about 26 days, and we're all in. So I'm excited about that. Good going, Kim. Way to take care of us. NicoleWayne.com.
Exactly.
Check it out if you're listening. So there you have that. That's pretty much what we were jumping on tonight. I just kind of wanted to go, because like I said, my fears were pretty, I called the doctor and said, hey, am I good to go?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I just throwing this out there too. If there is something you want to discuss on the show or do a podcast with, shoot us an email.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rodney Rogers Outdoors, or post something on the Facebook page. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of us. And
I've actually got a list of podcasts that we're going to try to shoot up.
Okay.
You and I will work together and do some. One is obviously doing the offshore rigging, ballyhoo baits to save people money, fishing line. These are some things that we're going to, because your weekends are going to start freeing up here pretty soon.
Yeah, they're free. Yeah, I'm good.
So it's going to give us a chance to really get together and start putting our head together. And we got a secret project coming up that we're going to be working on. I'm pretty excited about. So we got a lot of stuff coming up.
Good.
So
I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, you just have so many. Even they don't have to be long. Your short tips and stuff and videos and how to restring your fishing line, things like that just aren't that involved. But I think it's like great tutorials. You're just full of tips. You're full of it.
Full of tips. I'm a tip fuller.
You really are, and I mean, I think I almost need to have, I've learned so much from you, and like have a Rodney's tip of the week.
You know what? Let's plan on that.
Yeah.
Let's plan on that. Because I'm doing that Friday thing on my normal stuff, but I can readjust that.
Yeah.
And we can do tip of the week. So I think it's an awesome idea.
Okay.
Random.
Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. I tell you what. Speaking of tip of the week, the one you taught me the other month, my birthday. You showed me that you can always get a free cup of coffee at Starbucks if it's your birthday and you have a gun. Brilliant.
And as I've said a million times, my mama always told me, "You kids get outside and stay."